Hi, everybody. This is Alex Lindsay from the Pixel Core, and this is the Teardown, Episode 1. So here we have an open animation. Now, what we're trying to do is get to this master frame. This is the master frame here. This is where you want everything to be. So what you do is you set this as a keyframe, and then and it's fairly straightforward. You set that keyframe, and then you back up, and you set all your keyframes. So now all your objects are out here. This is up here. This is down here. This shape that's about to be in the background is here and scaling down. So you set all those up and you set those keyframes that are further out at the very beginning, and then you just let them play into their space. Now you'll play around with where those exact keyframes are, but that's basically how you build that animation relatively quickly. That's a fairly straightforward animation to kind of build. Now you have the star coming forward, and it's nice and reflective. Unfortunately, it's not great geometry. And what I mean by that is if you look at this here, you see the aliasing that's going up and down here? That's poorly formed geometry against reflections. Reflections look great, but if you don't get them over really well-formed geometry, which means not a lot of long polygons, which is probably what's going on right here, if you get that, those long polygons in there, you're going to end up with aliasing, which is exactly what you see here. And the best way to fix that is to fix the geometry and then render it again. Just a hint. So now let's move forward with this basic animation here. I've got a lower third. This works. So one of the things about people get really crazy about lower thirds. Simple white. This is a simple white block. There's nothing complicated about it. You now have an animation that is not scaling, not doing anything crazy. Just it pushes over and fades in. That works. You don't have to have smoke coming out of it, and you don't have to have everything roll in. When you start doing crazy stuff with your lower thirds, that's kind of like the lens flare of lower thirds. And if you put a lens flare on top of your lower thirds, as well as doing crazy, that's like a lens flare on top of a lens flare. And yeah, just don't do it. So the last thing we'll look at is the mic. You have two mics here. These are primary and backup pointed to the side. Now, why do they point it to the side? They point it to the side most likely because you've got a crew neck here and you've got a standard attachment, and there's no easy way to turn them any other way. There's some attachments that will rotate and so on and so forth, but then you end up with kind of a messy cable process. And so that's probably why it got turned sideways. I would normally move it over here, except she's got this long necklace. The things that tend to challenge you when you're miking women is that they have a lot of crew necks, they have long hair, and they have long necklaces. All of those things make it a little harder to put the mic exactly where you want it to get the best audio. And when you turn it sideways, the problem is that you're getting reflections off of this monitor, audio reflections, as well as whatever audio is going on over here, a little bit more than you normally would if they were pointed upward. And you can usually hear it. It sounds a little bit more roomy if it's not pointed straight up. Anyway, that's it. That's episode 1. If you like what I just did, then do all the things you're supposed to do. Subscribe and share it with your friends and like it and all that fun stuff. If you don't, then don't do any of that, and I won't do any more. Well, maybe I'll do a couple.